ちょっとまずいですね。林さんは会場の我々の住んだとか言ってそんな悠長なこと言ったんですけど、もう無理です。あ、今、ここで、はい。
そうだ、あの時。そうですね。
はい。皆様にご案内いたします。ランチセッション用にご用意いたしましたランチボックスですが、若干余裕。
As for the lunchbox, we still have some lunchboxes available. So those of you who have not applied for the lunchboxes, still they are available. So please contact the reception. However, the number of lunchboxes is limited. Thank you for your understanding.
The
next session is partially conducted in English. So for those of you who need a simultaneous interpretation receivers, please also contact the reception. Thank you.
Parallel Session 7 Asia低炭素
Parallel Session 7. We are going to start the potential of a city-to-city cooperation for low-carbon development in Asia. A case of the cooperation between Surabaya City and Kita-Kyushu City. The moderator will be served by Mr. Maeda and Mr. Hayashi.
Thank you very much. So city will be the theme for the sessions as well. Kita-Kyushu team will be moderating the session. From Ministry of Environment, Mr. Kawamata, the Director of Office of International Cooperation, is also with us. And from Surabaya, Ms. Tashwin, the Assistant to the Mayor in charge.
Person. Next to him is a translation from IGS. で、あとはですね、北九州市から石田。
And Ishida-san from IGS, the director in charge of the Asian Center for Low Carbon Society, and the person next to him is Mr. Nishihara from Nishihara Corporation, Intermediary Waste Management Facility, and the person next to him is Mr. Muraoka, NTT Data Institute of Management and Consulting, the Senior Executive Manager, and we are the Kita-Kyushu team. Myself, Maeda, and Hayashi moderate the sessions coming from the Kita-Kyushu office of IGES. So city-to-city cooperation is the framework to facilitate the low-carbon development in Asia. And the case of the cooperations between Surabaya City and Kita-Kyushu City is what we would like to focus on some specific. We've been talking about the concepts, policies. But in the actual field, what are some of the specific actions that we will be able to take is something that we would like to focus on. We only have 60 minutes, and there will be 4 speakers, and we're already running out of time, so we will be quick. First speaker is Mr. Kawamata. Mr. Kawamata has already given us a presentation. Please be succinct within 5 minutes.
So once again, my name is Kawata. I have already spoken at the previous session, and those of you who have participated in the previous session, you have already heard my presentation, but there may be someone who have joined newly for this session, so let me very brief in giving you the introduction. Leapfrog development is something that MOE would like to support. So the developing economies will be able to avoid the mistakes as made by the industrialized countries and be able to leapfrog, utilizing the know-how, the knowledge and experience of Japan. And we would like to support the developing economies to realize that. And a joint crediting mechanism, something similar to the CDM. The difference between the CDM and JCM is that it is on a bilateral basis. Agreement will be reached between Japan and the developing economy, and rules will be made, as well as the approval of the projects that will be done. So some of the drawbacks of the CDMs will be overcome through the new mechanism to try to create the projects which will be more suitable to the host country, and the credit that will be jointly to be achieved, and this is what Japan is promoting. And with Indonesia, we are now in negotiation, and at the earliest time, I believe we will be able to sign the bilateral agreement. And Japan will be providing technology, as well as the formulation of the plan will be supported, and we will have capacity building, and also we will support the institutional of the building, including legislations and standards. Minister Ishihara in the May that have come up with a new expanded program of the ESC using JCM, trying to support the leapfrogging of the developing economies to try to utilize the experience and knowledge of Japan through the JCM scheme. And this fiscal year, 17 feasibility studies that have been solicited and adopted, of which one is the technology cooperation in Surabaya, Indonesia. So 17 feasibility studies will be done in 12 cities, and we have 3 flagship cities. Surabaya will be one of them. The picture at the top on the right-hand side, on the 10th of July in Surabaya, the kickoff meeting was held, and this was the picture taken on that occasion. The mayor of Surabaya, as well as the deputy minister of environment of Indonesia, were there. This was a successful kickoff. Surabaya has a sister city relationship in environmental area with city of Kita-Kyushu in Japan, and we have utilized the framework to conduct the feasibility study. Now, at this session, there will be presentations made, the projects under the feasibility study, so the details will be given by the other speakers. Starting from this fiscal year, MOE, in addition to the feasibility study, we have launched assistant projects, 1.2 billion yen for this fiscal year, and at the initial investment, up to 50% will be supported, and from next fiscal year onwards, we would like to expand the assistant projects. We will be working with JICA as well as ADB to try to engage in infrastructure projects to make it a more low carbon basis, low emission basis. So feasibility study in Surabaya. Through the assistance projects, we hope to realize the various projects in Surabaya. So that will be all from me.
Well, thank you very much for such a succinct presentation. So 17 feasibility studies undertaken, one of which is the project in Surabaya. And for the three of the Surabaya is one of the three core projects. And also, it's not just the technical support, but city-to-city cooperation, administrative, operational support is given, and also subsidies are being provided. That is a very important point. Now, let us move on to the next presentation. In the city of Surabaya, there is a project, and I would like to give you the overview of that project. This was covered in Kawamata-san's slide on 10th of July. There was a kickoff meeting, and you see Alisma-san, the mayor, in the center, and also the persons on the left-hand side is the deputy minister of the environment, and on the right-hand side, Mr. Nomura, the general counsel. So all these VIP attended the kickoff meeting. I'm sorry for the small font. The important point here is covering all the areas where we can facilitate low carbon. Energy, waste, traffic, all are included. IJAS serves as a facilitator, but Kitakyushu and Surabaya have entered into the environmental sister city agreement. So all the others will be on board of this partnership. So if Kitakyushu are to approach Surabaya, they make a referral to other agencies, ministries, and other businesses. That is a big benefit. Why this is possible? Because we've been establishing the mutually trustworthy relationship. If the stranger visits, no such referral can be made. About 100,000 tons of CO2 reductions is what we are aiming at. That actually says 129,000 reductions, but that may be too stretched. We are here at ISAP on the 10th of July. Workshop was held, and in September, October, and January, we will be visiting Surabaya, and we would like to have a tangible achievement in January. The survey that we will be conducting can be explained, but that may bore you. But there are something that has been achieved: energy, traffic, water, and waste. Energy and waste. The projects are already underway. So we will present that to you. First of all, from energy field, entity data, Mr. Muraoka will be the next presenter. Please move on to the next presentation.
So in the area of energy, to what extent we will be able to reduce the CO2, and already research has been made beforehand. Thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Muraoka from NTT Data Institute of Management Consulting. In the interest of time, I should be very, very brief. I'm in charge of energy sector. The project itself was based on the sister city relationship between Surabaya and Kitakyushu, the cities, looking at the Surabaya city as a whole to try to make it a smart city. But we will start from the low-hanging fruit, the industrial estates, as well as the peripheral, tall the buildings, and we would like to make them smart cities. To start with, in the previous session, what kind of local needs are there should be identified. Right now, in Indonesia, there are 3 specific needs. One thing is trying to reduce energy. Electricity charges are quite low in Indonesia because the electric utilities they would incur the losses if they sell more electricity. They are heavily subsidized. But government policy right now is trying to reduce the subsidy. So the electricity tariffs are rising. There has been 15% hike the last year. And CO2 reduction is being aimed for, and NAMA is now being pursued. And what is mentioned at the top is very important in the factories as well as in the buildings, because electricity charges in the past have been cheap. They have not been engaged in efficient utilization of energy. So we would like to seek efficiency and saving of the energy. So for the business, it will be viable. Going into the specifics, there are two major categories. One thing is, as Mr. Maeda has already introduced, already 2 years ahead in the industrial estates, the energy saving being packaged together. And in the peripheral areas like hospitals as well as office buildings, the large facilities where they would be utilizing the energy, so including ESCOM, we would like to introduce more energy saving measures, including the lightings as well. Now, in the industrial estate, the energy saving services in the local community, we have established a company and the plans for the long term, 15 years. We will have the cogeneration to provide the heat as well as the electricity. And why it is a business viable? Because in the industrial estates, they're buying very expensive natural gas, but they are just producing steam, and that's it. So in terms of energy efficiency of the potential of 100, they are only achieving 10 or 20. And there are many such companies in industrial estates. And if that is the case, then all the steam should be supplied by the newly established company, and the electricity can also be sold, which means more efficiency. And heat and electricity both could be sold. In terms of business viability as well as in terms of CO2 reduction, it will be highly attractive. So that is the reason why we had the thought that it is quite promising. Now, having said so, there are many tall hurdles. One thing is institutional challenge. For example, in Indonesia, the electricity retail is not that easy to be done. So you have to have low partners with local companies. And in terms of contract, 15 years O&M should be done locally. And if then the clients, whether they would commit themselves to the buying for 15 years. So there are contract-based difficulties, and the interest rate is quite high. So in terms of financing, how can we be able to seek solutions? For Japanese businesses, how to take the credibility. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing. In terms of the system we have put in place for implementation, we will be teaming up with ESCO, local ESCOs. For industrial estates, the METI, the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, have been trying to export the plans as a whole. But the MRV methodology have not been considered in order to reduce energy or trying to go for energy efficiency. So we are trying to introduce this element in the program. As Mr. Maeda has already mentioned, to what extent the CO2 could be reduced for industrial estates as well as for buildings, we will be able to seek more efficiency. And for street lamps and lighting, we will be able to also seek efficiency. About 50,000 tons per year of CO2 reduction could be achieved. Looking at Surabaya City as a whole, for manufacturing, the production, as well as the commercial sectors, comprise 50% of the total emission. So we hope that we will be able to see good results. Thank you.
I'd like to ask some questions to understand your presentation.
So could you give us the chart? I forgot which page, but I believe it was page 5, about cogeneration. So introducing cogeneration and heat and electricity both could be supplied at the same time from one company to the plants. Why is the feasibility study already completed? Because financing has been provided by METI, Ministry of Economy, but for reduction of CO2 has not been well incorporated yet. So the MOE is trying to provide the financing to build in also the CO2 reduction factor. But there are three major barriers or challenges. Could you give me the chart to try to explain? So from the left-hand side, this is the entry point to have stable supply of gas, whether the long-term contract could be achieved or not. And after electricity is generated, the PLN, which is the national company, whether it will purchase or not, and at what price and cost. Was it 2 weeks ago that METI director and you have visited PLN, right? And Mr. Ishida was also there, I understand. So what was the response from them? Right now in Indonesia, retail of electricity, according to the legislation, new company can be engaged. But in order to get the permission, PLN must consent. But the consent is hard to get. So which means that at this moment in time, the PLN will be engaged in retail, so we will sell on wholesale basis. And the sales price would be about 60%, which is not commercially viable. So we would like to have direct sales to the consumers, and that is what we are negotiating with the PLN. By having partnership with PLN, we will be able to do that. When you say partnership, you will have the special purpose vehicles to be established. And the major shareholders would be Japanese companies. But as for the share percentage, we will work out with PLN. And PLN will also participate so that the price would be more closer to the market price, right? Unless you are able to be successful in the negotiation, you will not be able to see progress. So that is a challenge, as I understand. The other point about the energy saving, energy efficiency for buildings. To be more specific, what kind of buildings will be covered with the large-scale shopping malls and the public facilities where energy is being consumed in a massive way, and also data centers. These are the kind of buildings we are targeting. And NTT Group, NTT facilities will also participate. And when you are to contact these facilities, you have Surabaya city government involved, right? Yes, we are being introduced by the Surabaya municipal government. So once again, if you could give me the chart for the cogeneration. So with PLN, when and if all the conditions are met, then you would like to have a demonstration project. That is what you have explained to us. To what extent have you been successful? So as soon as we are given consent from the PLN, the Japanese company and PLN will be partnering for a pilot project, for demonstration project. The key point is institutional framework to be remodeled. The natural gas may be depleted, so Indonesia is trying to go for cogeneration to utilize energy in an efficient manner, but there has been no example yet. So we would like to have incentives provided by the government so that we can provide as a whole package. So not just one project, but the government institution itself need to be reviewed. Like Thailand, we would like to have the government to introduce a policy to promote cogeneration. So you need to push the Indonesian government to move along that line. And there has been 15% hike for the electricity tariffs, even though there were some riots the last year. But it has subsided. But next year, you are also thinking for the electricity tariffs to be increased. So even though you are given consent by the government, institutional framework needs to be worked out. Thank you. I understood fully.
Next is more specific topic. I'd like to call upon Mr. Nishihara. Senior Managing Director of Nishihara Corporation for Waste Management in cooperation with Kitakyushu City. The project is already underway, so I'd like to call upon him. Thank you.
おはようございます。西原商事の西原と申します。よろしくお願いします。私たちはですね、廃棄物って
I am Nishihara of Nishihara Corporation. Nice to meet you. We have been continuing with treatment sustained at low cost and safe and hygiene work environment and promotion of efficient recycling. So those are the three pillars that under which we are working on recycling in Surabaya. Surabaya is the second largest city in Indonesia. The population is about 3 million. There are waste from each household, as well as business-related waste as well, but I focus on the general waste from households. There's a garbage station is there, and it goes through the transfer station. 1,200 tons of general garbage will be brought to a final disposal site, which is open dumping system. So they just bury or dump the waste there. About 1,000 people who are so-called waste pickers. So they make their living by picking those wastes. So about 1,000 waste pickers working there. As for the surface of the final disposal site, and this is something that is commonly seen centering on Southeast Asia. Plastic and metallic parts are just dumped in there in a very disorganized manner. And so waste pickers are also shown in the pictures as well. So they pick them and sell them to make their living. Once you get there, you can tell that it's very smelly. Once you are there for 5 minutes, and then you can't remove the smell. And because legislation is not well put in place at all. So, for example, medical waste or some infectious related waste is also included as well. So it's a very dangerous site as well. So the household waste are simply brought to the final disposal site. So we want to change this just a simple flow. I'll refer to that topic later. But in the city, there are about 170 depots. Depots means transfer stations of waste. There are waste pickers there. About tens of thousands of people are probably working there. In Japan, they wear uniforms, but they don't wear any uniforms at all. So they are dressed not so neatly. And so we need to work with them together. So that is the basic spirit under which we conduct our work. So we distributed the uniforms first, working uniforms, work clothes, which is an Indonesian version of the work clothes that we actually use in Japan, the overalls and caps as well, so that we can change from outside. They are all very much pleased with these uniforms, and they're very much pleased that they can work as a proper workers, and so they do a separation of waste. So this is a very positive effect on their mind as well. We checked the status quo. We conducted analysis of the waste. The greatest portion was kitchen garbage. Unlike kitchen garbage from Japan, it's a lot of fruit waste or the plant leaves. There are many organic plant-related waste, which accounted for about 70%. Then comes plastics, which is about 10% or 13%, and also paper, scraps, and metals, and others. As you can see from these numbers, there are many organic waste. So how we should address the recycling of organic waste became the central part of our work. The overall scheme of the work is this. What was dumped at the final disposal site, before that we established the separation factory. So about 80% of the recycling can be done there. And waste pickers and poor people can be also hired there as well. So we try to promote recycling as well as employment. Now the left-hand side picture, this is exactly the same place. It's like before and after. The left-hand side is transfer station. The first picture, the first image. Then the right-hand side picture is under the cooperation of JICA and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We had a project, and we established a garbage separation factory. So from outside, we try to make this whole work more neatly. And the left-hand side picture shows the separation lines. Now there are about 30 waste pickers working there. So plastics, paper, metal, foreign materials, and lastly, food waste is separated in that order. And the separated, say, garbage is also sent to the compost center to make it compost. As for compost, there is a large-scale company of compost plant, which is Petrokemia. So we are trying to supply the compost to Petrokemia. So we're conducting analysis on what kind of operation is needed, and so we are currently working on the finishing touches of those operations. Through such operation, low-cost operation can be achieved. Also, the transportation efficiency or cost reduction. There is a CO2 generation, so we can reduce the transportation cost, which is CO2, and we can increase in recycling rate, and we can increase the employment as well in the healthy work environment, and farmers are able to use low-priced compost as well. So those are the positives or the advantages. CO2 has been calculated as well. In our project as a whole, the 15 tons processing per day is the current level, but 2,000 CO2 reduction per year can be achieved. But if this increases to 150 tons, and if we can incorporate the entire Surabaya city, and then further CO2 reduction can be expected. As a project, 1,200 tons capability is available, but we have only 10 tons only that we are processing, so which is only 1% with 15 tons on a basis, but we should increase to 100 tons to 200 tons for operation. So for more expanded operation, then we can say account for 20% or 10% of waste from Surabaya city. So by increasing the number of those facilities, we can separate and recycle them from the waste from the Surabaya city, but at the same time we can promote employment of the people working there too. So with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you. Can you go back to your slide, page 9? Since this is a very interesting project, so I have a lot of questions. Business model was shown on page 9, I think. Now this project is financed by the Foreign Ministry Affairs. So it is this is a demonstration project. So this can be done. It's not really feasibility studies. Oh, it's not a demonstration, it's a feasibility studies. So hardware, I think, budget is not allowed by the foreign ministry budget. But you just spend your own money or your company money? That's right. The JICA and the Ministry of Affairs, even when it is feasible studies, still it's a very important money. Not just doing a feasibility study, but I wanted to come up with certain results or outcome. That's why I came this far. It was adopted in August or September last year. That's right. So since then, you already established this facility, and it is already running. In the opening of this facility was in October. No, that was in March. At the time, who attended that? The Minister of the Environment attended. Also, the Mayor of Surabaya City also attended the opening ceremony of this facility. So Surabaya City is very much recommending this project. However, the Nishihara Corporation paid for this facility. So can you go back to page 9 again? Waste pickers. About 30 waste pickers are hired there. Who financed it? Our company. You also paid for that. Your company also paid for that. 50 million yen, and that's the upper limit for the budget from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so Nishihara Corporation's money is also being used in a very effective manner. So unlike a consulting company-related business, it is really amazing that the Nishihara Corporation has done this much. Before starting this project, in Jakarta, at the final disposal site, you went to sales activity there and tried to sell this facility to the local authorities. There's a Bandar Yao final disposal site, which is 5 times bigger than the Surabaya final disposal site. So I went there first, but the Jakarta government people can talk with us, but there was not much progress. And so when we consulted the Kitakyushu city, then they have a very strong relationship with the Surabaya city, so they suggested that we should go to Surabaya city. So on the following week, we went to Surabaya city along with the Kitakyushu city people, and then there was much progress in the discussion. And you have a head office in Surabaya city, so Kitakyushu city is also supporting Nishihara Corporation. So under the cooperation with the Surabaya city, this project is running. And there's also petrochemia picture shown. In order to make this stand as a business, I think this is the key point. 70 to 80% of the reduction of the waste can be done. Most of them are organic waste, and so how to sell that is, I think, a key part. Actually, can you actually sell these products? Well, the chemical substances or chemical fertilizers are being used by farmers right now. In the national agricultural policies, they are promoting organic fertilizers, and that is a tailwind. So our discussion with the petrochemia is going very smoothly. 2 or 3 yen per kilo is a sellable price that we are wanting. Not 10 yen, 2 or 3 yen only. 10 yen is the price that the farmer can buy at. So petrochemia is a nationally run chemical fertilizer plants. And because the soil is getting not so nutritious, and so they're encouraging organic fertilizers. So you are working on the negotiations for providing the organic fertilizers to petrochemia. And in we looked at the waste situation, but this city enjoys the #1 track record in waste management. So it is actually a beautiful city. So to remove your misunderstanding, I want to show some beautiful part of Surabaya city. Assistant Mayor is with us, and so I'd like to ask him to introduce Surabaya city activities. First is the parks, as well as waste management as facility.
Good morning, everybody. Surabaya toward sustainability. This effort undertaken by Surabaya to reduce carbon emission. One, the increasing green open space, and then solid waste and wastewater, so energy efficiency and transportation. How to increasing green open space? The government, local government, revision on city planning in the east coast of Surabaya that includes approximately 2,500 hectares. The area is turned from formerly being housing and commercial area into conservation or green open space area. This is a conservation area and the east coast Surabaya. This, from this table, we can see that there is more than 20% of Surabaya land is green space, managed and owned by government, and more than 12% other green space provided by privates. So number green space area is about 32% from total Surabaya area, mostly for park, conservation, and parks. So the building city parks and city forests in some locations. This Rainbow Park, this actually gas station. This is before gas station. Now after this park, the name Rainbow Park. This is before gas station. This Lancia Park ex-gas station. This is Kombes Duriat Park. This many people come to here to enjoy this at the park. This before, like this before the after greenery. This Expression Park. This is, yeah, okay. Masuk ke apa? So, there are many parks and city forest developer is Surabaya in 5 years later. So, in years 2005, Surabaya municipality closed 30 gas stations established on government land and changed to the city parks, like parks located close to entrance gate of the city also developed on the land as gas station. Some street vendors relocated to specially constructed areas, track out the city and the former location developed city and recreation parks. Our motto is not only greenery, the city, but also make Surabaya a city of flowers. This is flower in Surabaya. So the sakura that also can grow well in Surabaya, like this. Terus, mana terus? Like this white the tabebuya tree. Terus, yeah, the due to limitation of land, in the city Surabaya develop many parks median or of the route. For example, in this arterial route is wide 40 meters. Then 40% or 50 meters of which of route used for parks or green open space. It's to forestry as well as to absorb the CO2 produced by motor vehicles. So the most of parks in Surabaya equipped with free libraries. This green space at Soekarno-Hatta Street, the new route, and the East Surabaya. Terus, okay. Terus, this is mostly many parks, green line, and many connected and office yards equipped with biopori, 2% rainwater going to the ground to water plants in dry season. Terus lanjut ke ini, awas sini Pak. Ya. The solid waste management, solid waste and waste water management. Solid waste management reducing was from such composting house and waste bank, B, modernizing landfill final dispose under construction, and empowering community by creating environment facilitator and cadres. This is reducing waste from such composting house and waste bank, modernizing landfill final disposal, and empowering community by creating environment facilitator and cadres. Community managed compost house. This is at the Gundi before, Gundi village and Kedung Baruk village. Using compost generated from organic waste. Support depository. This is developed by by Nishihara. Thank you. Yeah, the program implementation that continuously improve includes waste and wastewater management that very supported by Kita Kyushu City. By Kita Kyushu support, Surabaya successfully manage the waste, particularly and reducing waste in the such developed system include Takakura basket, and then composting houses, and also establishment of super depot building for sorting garbage before sent to final disposal, where and all activities have been greatly assisted by Kita Kyushu City. So we all Surabaya City must indebted to Kita Kyushu for fully supporting to our city. This is a recycling was in to handicraft. Then, so Independent West Bank, this is to encourage people collecting and sorting trash in the search, as well as it can increasing community welfare. It have been built some waste bank in village and schools. People, students can save trash and paid by money, but it taken. This is established in City 8 sub-district. was entering to the Benowo final disposal site. From this table, it can be seen every talk the trend of population of Surabaya continuously increasing, but number of waste entering to final deposit decreasing. This is 2005. Now the 2011 target 1,229, and then so the realization 1,150 ton. So, terus how to greenery the city, the we have empowering community, recruitment of environment cadre. We have environmental cadre 28,000 people, and then facilitator 402,000 people. So, wastewater management, developing integrated water treatment. The feasibility study has just been completed. The communal wastewater treatment plan, the sewage treatment plan, this capacity is 115 to 200 meter cubic per day. And then Kaputi Sikolilo, and then Margorokan Alley, Gundi village. This is done on how the under root we make a reservoir. So the communal by reservoir by community, the communal by community. Terus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taswing. Actually, there are many more slides. So I'd like to interrupt here. The key points here is that community involvement. Yes, many. そうですね。日本語で話しますと。
Let me switch to Japanese. From around 2005, the community has started to become cleaner, and the people living there is claiming and actually feeling that the Surabaya has become cleaner. What were the driving force?
Karen Mayor has strong will since he was appointed as the head of the public cleaning and landscaping department in 2005. So supported by Kitakyushu City for our local government and our citizens, very involved to help our greenery city.
Thank you very much. 時間が押しているので。
Well, we are pressed with time, so why don't we end the presentation of Surabaya City? But all the presentation material will be posted on the website. What I wanted to highlight here is that in 2008, Mr. Lisma, the current mayor, used to be the head of the cleaning facility from 2005 to 2006. That was a time when the waste was reduced and we've seen more greenery in the city. And then he has assumed the Director General of the Development Bureau.
10.
Yeah.
Assume the post of mayor, and Kitakyushu City, even before 2005, has been establishing a relationship with Surabaya. So they already have the backbone. They already have the good relationship, which further strengthened the tie. authorities have kept you waiting. From Kita-Kyushu, we now have Mr. Ishida, Executive Director of the Kita-Kyushu Asian Center for Low Carbon Society. He was supposed to be the initial speaker, but he will be the final speaker. How they have been establishing a relationship and why Kita-Kyushu was so passionate about the international cooperation.
Thank you for your introduction. I am with the Kita-Kyushu City. I am Ishida with the Kita-Kyushu Asian Center for Low Carbon Society Environmental Bureau of the city of Kita-Kyushu. The collaboration between the cities is one major topics here. So from that perspective, I'd like to give my presentation. Let me first of all explain our center. For 2006 in June, this Asia Low Carbon Center was established. The Kita-Kyushu was chosen as environmental city, and so following that, we try to promote the low carbon in Asia. And following that, this Kita-Kyushu Asian Center for Low Carbon Society was established. Not just the Kita-Kyushu city. IJ's Kita-Kyushu Urban Center and Kita-Kyushu International Technical Association is also the entity that we're working with. And in terms of the characteristics of this Asian Center, we are trying to leverage the network among the cities in Asia from the environment business point of view. The sustainability need to be ensured, so that is the objective. From that perspective, we like to promote low carbon society in Asia. What we are aiming for is not just, when we say the environment business, it's not just export of the transfer of technology only. When we listen to the opinions of the Asian people, the city planning, eco-cities, smart city, we like to incorporate such a concept into the cities as well because of their strong needs. So green city export, from that perspective, we are conducting activities. Now, against such a background, over the last 3 years, we have been doing activities. Surabaya-centered projects are underway. About 40 projects are currently underway. The Ministry of the Environment, METI, MOFA, JICA, we utilize the menus available from those ministries, and we also work with the companies as well. Characteristics is that between the cities, there are schemes, so we utilize those schemes. And so we can create the environment where the companies can do their operations in those countries. And feasible studies is the main part right now, but we like to lead those feasible studies to actual operations. So from that perspective, we are supporting various projects. Now, in terms of relationship with the Surabaya city, as was explained in earlier presentation, starting from 2004, international cooperation started in the field of composting business, and so relationships has been closer. And in November 2012, we concluded a environment sister city agreement as well. If it's just a simple sister city, it's not so fun, and so we came up with the idea of green sister city. I don't think any other cities have sister city agreement under this concept. NTT Data and Mr. Nishihara introduced various projects, and so we are also pushing ahead with the various projects. Green City Export is one model that we would like to realize. There are many projects, and so we are going to work on CO2 reduction through various projects. So in that way, we are going to run the whole projects. So on our part, since there are many projects that are currently underway, the upstream, the master plan need to be well formulated first, and then each project need to be explored more in depth. And so that is approach. As for Surabaya city, the Japanese government, Australia, International Development Agency of Australia, and other international organizations have plans by sector. The East Java should be the point of contact, and Surabaya city is the actual implementation city. However, there is Surabaya state did not have so much involvement, and so even though there are plans, the plans are not being implemented. But in terms of the needs of the Surabaya city, they wanted to establish a facility for waste management. However, still not much has been implemented either. So there are certain issues. And so there are some specific projects that are currently underway. Under the Green City concept, the cross-sectoral approach is not well put in place, which is a reflection point. Following, however, the outcome, we need to think about the plans for the next phase. So we need to establish long-term plans as well. Now, in that situation, Kitakyushu City and Surabaya City, in the collaboration between those two cities, not just hardware-based city planning, but we like to focus on social system building and social master plan. We like to make a social master plan under the unified concept. And so we make a master plan, and a specific projects shall be linked to the master plan. And so we are currently working with the MOFA and JICA to make proposals to them. Through this, the Green City showroom of Surabaya City can be created, and we aim for that. And then we'd like to expand that to Indonesia as well as Southeast Asian countries. So we would like to establish a model in that way. By building such a system, from planning to implementation, we can extend support at all that level. As Mr. Nishihara explained earlier, the private and public sector collaboration enables low costs as well. The waste reduction can be achieved as well. So the public and private sector efforts will contribute to further reduction in costs. So through such a relationship, we like to build a win-win relationship with Surabaya City. Thank you very much. We are pressed for time, but I have a couple points that I want to pick up. Could you go back to page 2 of the slide? In 2010, Asia Low Carbon Society Center was established, and it started in operation in earnest from 2010. Are the citizens supporting this kind of project, and what percentage of the citizens are supporting this? In the case of Kitakyushu City, the city was affected by the public pollutions, and we overcame it. Starting from 1980s, we tried to push ahead with the international cooperation so that Asian cities will not follow the same steps. So the citizens are very much proud of environmental policies and projects, and so that is the background. So we aim for environmental city as a brand of the city, and so there is a strong support by the residents. And based on that background, we were able to do this, I believe. Could you go to a couple of slides further? The low carbon society for Asia. It sounds very common, but back in 2010, you came up with this concept and established the center. That was really amazing. Now, this many projects are available over the last 3 years. How many people are involved in these projects? About 20 members from our organization. So that means 20 city officials are involved in these projects. But I wonder if other municipality is serious enough to allocate 20 officials in this field. So does that mean, again, there's a support from the citizen? That's right. I think that part plays a major role. In terms of course, financing it, there's a limitation as a municipality. So feasibility study and demonstration tests by the central government are also leveraged as well. So that could be one point for push for this type of projects. The collaboration between the cities for realizing low carbon societies. And so that means not just using the city finance, but NEDO, JICA, MOFA are also involved. And so you make all those proposals, and 500 million yen in income per year, as I understand it, or sales or revenue. Am I right? With only 20 officials of the city. So it's like a trading house almost. What are the reasons for choosing Surabaya city? I believe there are many relationships with many cities. What are the reasons why you are making this much of investment in Surabaya city? As I mentioned earlier a little bit, in 2002, JBIC, when they had ODA projects, there was a proposed-based feasibility studies or pre-feasibility studies, Surabaya and Chongqing as well. And there was a waste management was very important in Surabaya at the time. They found that out. So starting from 2001, the global environmental funds were utilized and the compost project started. As was mentioned, Takakura-style compost. And this compost is not just in Surabaya, but in Thailand, have been now using this system as well. So through compost project, we were able to deepen the partnership with Surabaya. That was one major trigger to deepen the relationship. So as a result of collaboration with many cities, you are able to also deepen the relationship with Surabaya city, and the city of Kitakyushu has come this far. Could you show the third slide from the last page? You are trying to formulate a master plan as well, going further step further. Then that requires people, money, and things. But are you under consultations for that? We are currently having consultations with the JICA and the MOFA. The greatest issue or challenge is, and in the technical projects, with the consultation service gets involved, but sometimes it just stops right there. But however, when the municipality gets involved, even when those studies are over, I think we will be able to support further. So in that way, I think a collaboration between the cities is highly regarded right now. So MOFA and JICA have a good understanding on that, and so we have a consensus to push for these type of projects further. So based on the collaboration among many relevant entities, all these projects are going forward. So for symbolic collaboration, to what extent collaboration is being able to done in the energy field? The METI got involved, and for this waste management is a JICA project under MOFA. and the Ministry of Environment is also involved for this project as well. Can you tell me about that? The joint credit mechanism is related to the Ministry of Environment, METI, and MOFA as well. So with MOFA as well, as was mentioned with a collaboration with JICA, there was a mentioning about the financing with them. NTT projects and feasibility studies of METI were also assisted by our part as well. So it's really all Japan efforts beyond the boundaries of the ministries.
ありがとうございます。いろいろな
Thank you very much. So cross-ministerial collaboration, all Japan approach, seems to be one strong point of city-to-city cooperation. Now we're running out of time, so could you show the final concluding slide of IJAS? We will be concluding within 2 minutes. Can you show the final slide of the IJAS slide?
まとめますと、今日
If I may summarize, there are 4 main messages that we wanted to convey. We cannot show the slide, so let me orally tell them. City-to-city cooperations, capitalizing on that framework, the private sector company can directly access to the counterpart countries, ministries, and agencies. The relationship between Surabaya and Kitakyushu has a relationship of more than 10 years. Based on the relationship of trust, they can have an access. Take, for example, Nishihara Corporation. They have an access directly to the Waste Management Bureau. Entity data, they can go to the administrator of the industrial complex. That is a very important point. Another point, the end of the project itself is not the end of everything, but with the city-to-city cooperation, as was mentioned by Mr. Kawamata, it's not just the technological cooperation, the institutional enhancement, as well as the management operation. The case in point here is the waste management. Further improvement can be made in the operation administrations, and the capacity building takes time, but the city can play a role there. And also the cross-ministerial support is another important point. And lastly, the end of the project is not the end of everything. Now, there has been a 10-year history, so even after the completions of the project, the relationship still remains, and the private companies is willing to provide the funding themselves. That will further strengthen the relationship. If you can go back 1 page. I've been talking about 10 years, and this summarizes the past 10 years from the early 2000s. There has been exchange of human resources, and those who came to Kitakyushu as a trainee has now assumed the mayor of the city. This is the most important thing when considering city-to-city cooperation. I'm sorry, we could not open up the floor for questions, but time has come to end this session. If you have any questions, please directly ask the questions to the panelists and speakers. Thank you very much to the panelists, Hayashi-san, Maeda-san, as well as panelists. Thank you very much. We will take a lunch break until 1:45. Those who have applied for lunch sessions from 12:30, please take the receipt with you to the room 502 from 1:45 in this room, as well as from 502, as well as on 301 on the 3rd floor. Parallel sessions are to start. you have already selected the sessions that you would like to attend, but you can attend any of the sessions. Please move to the venue that you want. The venue for the afternoon Parallel